For as much as I've been looking forward to Snow White and covering that for a lot longer than this, Assassin's Creed Shadows is probably going to be my favorite March disaster coming out this year. I think it's like it has eclipsed Snow White in being just such a phenomenal disaster. Like it's been a much longer and more sustained burn with Snow White, but the highs have been hilarious and the lows have been disastrous in covering Assassin's Creed Shadows over this past year. And the fact that we are days away from the game's release, it's gonna be something, because I seen something from Grums and he was pointing to, and yeah, it's changed since I first seen it. So yeah, I have SteamDB pulled up right here, and when it comes to most wish-listed games, Shadows is now up to 41. That's interesting. Okay, that's better than expected, and number 7 in top sellers. That's also very interesting. So I don't know. We've seen this happen before, and especially as it was closing in. But you know what else was following this exact same trajectory? Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Yeah, I mean, not exactly all that surprised that things are shaping up this way. But while BioWare looks to be on shaky ground post-release of Veilguard, Ubisoft is very much on shaky ground prior to Shadow's release. And I think the future of the company, and I think we're all come to this conclusion at this point in time, the future of Ubisoft very much rests on the success or very likely failure of Shadows. And yeah, Ubisoft to form a new gaming entity as it scrambles for survival, seeks outside investor amid financial freefall. What? Well, wait, what are we doing right here? Okay. Oh, they're trying to mitigate their losses as best as they can. Try to shift a couple of the deck chairs that are on the deck of the Titanic. That is Ubisoft at this point in time. It's interesting who they're trying to get funding from, somebody who has been looking to buy them out for a while, actually. And yet another sign of a deepening crisis. Ubisoft is reportedly seeking outside investment to back a newly formed gaming entity that will house its most valuable franchises, including Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six. Because, yeah, as it sits right now, like Rainbow Six Siege is still one of the best performing games, especially on Steam right now. So without that, oh yeah, Ubisoft would have crumbled already. But Far Cry 6, like, guys, that was a bomb. And Shadows, like, it's going to be interesting. Number 7 on the bestseller list, but what's the competition right now? According to the Bloomberg report, the French publisher is reaching out to global and French-based investment funds, with bids expected by the end of the month. Yeah, after they see, oh god, that launch window release was kind of ass, so they want to see how much or how little they need to put into the pot to get a viable opportunity to buy out Ubisoft. Now, one name being floated around once again is, you bet, Tencent it is, the Chinese tech giant that already owns a nearly 10% stake in Ubisoft. And yeah, there were talks about them just outright buying Ubisoft, and then that ended up backing off a little bit, cooling off a little bit in the lead up to Shadows, and it's because everybody and their mother knows that, oh yeah, that stock right now looks terrible for Ubisoft, and it's going to get even worse after this bombing run this weekend, because I don't know, man. Like, it's a fool's errand to project how well this game is going to do on launch, but I think 6 digits is very much out of the realm of possibility. Concurrent player count on Steam, we're talking right here. But I think it might do better than Veilguard, but that's not really saying all that much. Like 40,000 concurrent players, like, bro, what are we doing out here? Or no, I'm sorry, Veilguard was 89 it tapped out at. Yeah, I think it's probably in and around that area. I don't think 6 digits, but it's possible. It's probable, but is it possible? We'll see. Other way around, actually. It's possible, it's not probable. This move comes as a little surprise to those following Ubisoft's downward spiral. Over the past few years, the company has suffered, yes, a series of financial setbacks, failed game launches, and controversial management decisions. Yeah, which is leading to the whole idea that, yeah, desperate times, desperate measures. So this is very much one of those things where they're just going to try to create a little spin-off conglomerate to try to house as many valuable IPs that they can try to keep after they sell everything off here, probably in the next couple of months at the beginning of many fiscal years for a bunch of different companies. That's why this one right here, it's very interesting, the timing of this release, because several big companies, and I think it's like general practice in the West, where your financial year begins April 1st. So yeah, or if that's not the first of your business year, it's the beginning of the second quarter. So that's when we're going to start to see a bunch of movement from Ubisoft and Tencent and what was it, Microsoft was trying to throw their hat into this ring, and it's going to be very interesting to see moving forward. But when it comes to like actual reviews, because we just talked about it with the Snow White thing and the fact that the review embargo drops like 24 hours before the release of the movie, that's a red flag. But what's a similar review embargo for Shadows? Because it's interesting, because I've seen this game advertised somewhat in so much as like, oh hey, Amazon is like, hey, we found something you might like. It's Shadows is like, no, I wouldn't like this at all whatsoever. What are you doing? And I understand that you probably got a little bit of a marketing budget behind that to try to push this game, but no thank you. Moving along. But outside of shills saying, oh yeah, no, I played like 9 hours of it and it's so great, you can't point at anything specific, but it's wonderful. It's like, okay, cool, come back to me when you have specifics, because we have seen what Ubisoft has done recently, and to say that I'm less than enthused would be a massive overstatement. But instead of being steadfast in their resolution that those 2 delays have created such an irresistible product, Ubisoft has taken a different approach when it comes to reviews that are going to be coming out on the horizon. They have, instead of getting good customer outreach, decided to bolster their legal department. Ubisoft is ready to sue players for harassing Assassin's Creed Shadows developers. Oh no, they're doing the thing. Assassin's Creed Shadows, undoubtedly one of the most divisive and controversial video games in recent years. It's right up there, man. Like, it's definitely staked out a nice little position right next to Concord, Veilguard. We're talking big budget ones. Like, we don't even need to bring in the cringe like Dustborn or anything like that. But you take a look at that entire bombing run that was 2024, and this one, like, if it wasn't delayed multiple times, like, it would have just fit in just perfectly. But those looking forward to the game and those critical of what they've seen so far is buzzing with anticipation, albeit for different reasons. The game's developer Ubisoft, whose disastrous 2024 is widely regarded as the worst year in its history, and whose future might depend on the success of the new Assassin's Creed installment. Yep, and is also gearing up for the release, reportedly enlisting a special team to shield Shadows developers from the imminent wave of criticism by any means necessary, including taking legal action. Where, I mean, that's going to be, especially for me, right? Like, I don't really care if, you know, people are going, oh my god, it's woke and all that stuff. I mean, in the certain aspect of this is supposed to be historically accurate, and then you've got the elevated position for Yasuke. Yeah, that shit's super cringe. But when it comes to giving a firm critique and analysis on the game, like, if it can't properly run, I mean, the people that worked on it, they deserve the criticism, but apparently that's not going to be allowed for Ubisoft. And yeah, when it comes to the writing, like, Star Wars Outlaws was a barely functional game, and even when it could work for you, like, the writing and the characters that were in that, they were absolutely atrocious. So yeah, everybody across the board is going to get valid criticism. It's just what Ubisoft is meaning by, you know, what is and what isn't valid criticism. And we got to take note of this. In an interview with the French media outlet BFM TV, okay, a Ubisoft employee whose identity remained undisclosed. Oh, that's interesting, right? Because we want to go against anonymous criticism online, but we don't really want to, you know, reveal our who we are. Anyways, that the company has an anti-online harassment plan prepared for Shadow's release. Reportedly, the company has a dedicated team on standby, monitoring a network such as Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit, ready to act quickly in the case of a targeted attack, offering psychological and legal support to employees who may be targeted. That's incredibly interesting. We need to go ahead and troll the entire internet to find anybody who's potentially critiquing our game in order to play the victim and go after against the people that we needed to literally seek out in order to feel aggrieved by. Interesting. Apparently, Ubisoft is so concerned about backlash that it has even advised developers not to post on social media that they work at Ubisoft to avoid harassment. Interesting, because here's the thing, right? Like, for the people that are eagerly anticipating for similar reasons the release of this game, like, going after the people that work on this, like, unless they say some outlandish shit, it's like the best way to critique Ubisoft and the people working on this is either through mockery or just not engaging, just watching them spiral into total irrelevancy, and in the case of working for Ubisoft, unemployment. Just let them freak out over there. Never harass these people, like, even if they directly go after you. Like, what's his nuts there, the art director for Avowed, who had a total spurg out. The best way to go about him is just simply point and laugh at his foolish tactics, and then just watch his game totally dwindle and die. If you don't like the work that people do, you have a right to voice your opposition. It's just going after individuals like that doesn't help anybody, and you just end up looking like an asshole at the end of the day. If they're going to be freaks, let them be freaks over there and just have a good laugh about it, and don't support the shit that you know you're not going to like to begin with. Perhaps the most surprising detail, however, is the employee's claims that lawyers are already prepared to file complaints in the event that they confirmed harassment situation. That is often the case with statements like this. The word raises questions about what Ubisoft considers to be harassment. Exactly. While any reasonable person agrees that threats of violence and similar behavior are unacceptable and should be dealt with accordingly, it's clear that some are worried Ubisoft might also classify harmless online trolling and criticism of Assassin's Creed Shadows and its creators as harassment, and use the lawyers as an intimidation tactic, which would be equally unacceptable. But we know that they're going to do this. We know that they have been trying to push, from the likes of SteamDB, to remove concurrent player accounts to avoid any sort of embarrassment on behalf of Ubisoft. That they put out that, remember how Assassin's Creed Shadows was leaked like a month ago and nobody has any like long form gameplay out there? There's no story leaks that anybody has really seen or haven't broken down in detail. It's almost like they're priming the situation so that when the game ultimately flops upon release, they can just simply blame the pirating situation as to why the game didn't sell that well, and then just launch this a full press illegal action. It's almost like they're doing all of that stuff preemptively. But how exactly is Ubisoft going about priming the audience for release right now? Well, they're just sending out their bot armies. Wrong one. That's the next video. I guess that's a video for tomorrow. Spoiler on that. Going back to Master of the TDS here. I'm also very much human and very excited for Assassin's Creed Shadows. The gameplay is stealth action. The visuals are graphics, and the characters are dynamic. I will engage in much playing upon release. Great job, team. I mean, just look at these screenshots. All come out on the 5th of March, huh? Can't wait for Assassin's Creed Shadows. The anticipation is real. Love the new direction they're taking with the stealth action. Definitely excited to dive into this one. Assassin's Creed Shadows is looking incredible. The atmosphere, characters, and action seems next level. Can't wait to experience this fresh take on the series. Finally, Assassin's Creed Shadows is almost here. Ubisoft is about to deliver another stealth action masterpiece. Can't wait to play. Assassin's Creed Shadows looks insane. And then yes, fire emoji on 3 of the 4 screenshots. And then, yeah, I mean, like, exciting news Ubisoft has in store for us. Anticipation is real. Bring on the new adventures and challenges. Shaping up to be a masterpiece. Amazing qualitative leap. Immersive atmosphere, and a bunch of numbers in these Twitter handles, which definitely isn't suspicious at all whatsoever. No, of course not. All of these look like authentic people. And Yusef Guman, I mean, like, that guy right there, clearly very excited for the release of Assassin's Creed Shadows. It looks amazing, and not like there aren't the hundreds of other examples that are out there getting posted all the time. This game, it's going to be something special, and I'd imagine the cringe is going to be fairly spectacular once people finally get their hands on it. I'm going to be looking forward to this. This is definitely the height of the cringe week. I'd imagine, oh boy, there's a lot of other crap that's coming out this year, but as it sits right now, this is the first, and this could very well end up being the most concentrated nonsense that we're likely to see out of entertainment for at least a little while. So savor it while it's here, because it's not going to get much better than this. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.